Welcome to GameCube Week Part 2, Episode 1, and in today's episode we're going to take a look at what I think are some of the best co-op GameCube games that you can play, and I'm excited to share these games with you all, and hopefully you all learn about some new games that you didn't know about. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Now before we get into the video, I just have a few quick disclaimers for you. First disclaimer is the only co-op games that I'm going to be talking about in these videos are co-op games where you can play through the entire campaign fully cooperative. We're not going to be talking about games where it has a separate co-op mode that's not a campaign like games like Defender. We're also not going to be talking about games where you can only play co-op during battle like Tales of Symphonia and The Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Now I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be covering every major North American GameCube co-op game that meets that criteria, but as you watch through these videos, when you finish all 4 of them, be sure and let me know in the comments down below if I missed any. Now another disclaimer is, unfortunately, me and my editor, we only had limited amount of time that we could spend playing these games and recording the footage, so you're only going to be seeing the first 30 minutes or so of each game. In addition to that, you're not going to be seeing any 3 or 4 player footage for any games that can go all co-op for 3 to 4 players. We were only able to do 2-player co-op. And with those disclaimers out of the way, let's get into the first game on today's video. The first game that we're going to get into as one of the best GameCube co-op games is Alien Hominid. Alien Hominid was released on the GameCube on August 7th, 2002, and it is an action-packed and silly run-and-gun game that was originally released as a Flash game on Newgrounds.com, and it was redeveloped from that Flash game by the Behemoth. There really isn't much of a story here in Alien Hominid. You simply play as an alien that is killing tons of secret agents to avoid being captured or killed. But that's okay, because Alien Hominid is a really fun run-and-gun game that plays like Metal Slug, and it's just as insane and over the top. You can shoot left, right, and up, and you can shoot down when you jump, throw grenades, you have a melee attack, and get weapon power-ups. Playing Alien Hominid co-op is so much damn fun, and also a bit chaotic, which honestly further adds to the fun. You don't really get to interact with each other a whole lot, but playing through the entire game with another person is just so much more enjoyable than playing it single player. If you like games like Contra and Metal Slug and like playing them co-op, then I highly recommend Alien Hominid, as it is a quirky, difficult, and fun 2D run and gun game. Next up, let's talk about Hunter the Reckoning. Hunter the Reckoning is a horror-themed hack-and-slash game based on an RPG and was developed by High Voltage Software and released on the GameCube on November 19th, 2002. You choose from one of 4 hunters, each with their own weapons and abilities, as you slash and shoot your way through hordes of monsters throughout 23 levels with a variety of environments and objectives. You will use a combination of your melee weapon, your main ranged weapon, any extra ranged weapons you find, and special abilities to destroy the monsters. Now the great thing about Hunter the Reckoning's co-op is that you can play it with up to 4 people total, so it's a great game to play when you have a group of friends over. The fact that the game is incredibly fun and also difficult make it a fantastic co-op game, as you really have to work together to survive against the hordes of monsters you will face. This is not only a fantastic game, but also a fantastic co-op experience that I cannot recommend enough, especially if you like gothic horror themed games or hack and slash games. Next up, let's talk about the badass shoot 'em up, Ikaruga. Ikaruga is, in my opinion, one of the greatest shoot 'em ups ever made, and it was originally released on the Sega Dreamcast but was ported over to the GameCube on December 20th, 2001. In Ikaruga, you will shoot your way through 5 massive vertical bullet hell stages full of enemies, obstacles, and a massive boss at the end, but there is a twist. You can switch your polarity from white to black. The color you switch to allows you to safely absorb bullets of the same color, and you will do increased damage to enemies of the opposite color. So getting the rhythm of swapping between these colors at the right time is key and adds such a fun dynamic to the game. Add another player to the mix and you have one of the most enjoyable and one of the most difficult co-op experiences on the GameCube. Ikaruga is designed to be able to work with both single player and in co-op, as you can work together in various ways for maximum effectiveness, especially in boss battles. If you own a GameCube, you would be doing yourself a disservice by not owning and playing Ikaruga, especially with a friend in co-op. The next 2 games we're going to talk about are LEGO Star Wars 1 and 2. LEGO Star Wars the video game was released on the GameCube on October 25th, 2005, and LEGO Star Wars 2 the original trilogy was released on the GameCube on September 12th, 2006, and both games were developed by Traveler's Tales. These are the games that really started and kicked off the LEGO games franchise, and they are both third-person action-adventure games that follow the films. They are sort of parodies in a way, as they are packed full of humor and even poke fun at the films and the characters. In both games, you play as a large variety of characters and play through a large variety of levels that spans the films while performing a variety of objectives. You will be breaking everything you can to collect LEGO studs, which you can use to unlock various things. There are a ton of playable characters, all with their own special abilities, and you will usually be swapping between different characters while playing single player, but these games are so much more fun when you play two-player co-op with a friend. You often have to work together to take out baddies, find secrets, or solve environmental puzzles. Now granted, the games are not very complicated and they are not very difficult, but damn, they're fun and entertaining, and I think some of the best co-op experiences on the GameCube. So if you're a fan of Legos, Lego games, and or Star Wars, then check out these Lego Star Wars games for some great co-op on the GameCube. Next up, let's talk about a badass war first-person shooter, which is Medal of Honor Rising Sun. Medal of Honor Rising Sun was published and developed by EA, and the GameCube version was released on November 11th, 2003. Medal of Honor Rising Sun is a first-person shooter that begins with you right in the middle of the Pearl Harbor attack and then progresses from there as you shoot your way through 9 epic missions in the single-player campaign. You will utilize a variety of guns and explosives from that era, and each mission has you performing a variety of objectives to complete the mission. You will want to play tactically and utilize cover and make sure you use the right guns at the right time, because the game is fairly challenging. But the best part about it is that you can play the entire campaign in split-screen co-op, and in my opinion, playing a game like this is far more fun with a friend. You can cover each other and work together tactically in each mission, and it makes a huge difference in the fun factor over single player. So if you're looking for one of the better co-op first-person shooters on the GameCube, then look no further than Medal of Honor Rising Sun. How about one of my favorite first-person shooters on the GameCube, which is Serious Sam Next Encounter. Serious Sam Next Encounter was published by Global Star Software and developed by Climax Solent, and the GameCube version released on April 14th, 2004. Serious Sam Next Encounter is a very intense and over-the-top first-person shooter that reminds me of Doom, because you will have enemies coming at you from all over the place as you shoot them with several different badass weapons. There's never a dull moment as you play through the 31 missions in the campaign. It is action-packed, and there are also plenty of secrets to find. You will get weapons such as the double-barrel shotgun, a grenade launcher, a chainsaw, a cannon that shoots cannonballs, a laser gun, and so much more. And of course, the reason it is on this list is because the entire campaign can be played in split-screen co-op. Just like Medal of Honor Rising Sun, Serious Sam Next Encounter is significantly more enjoyable with a friend. Double the players equal double the chaos and insanity as you work together to kill hordes and waves of enemies. This is easily one of the best co-op games on this list and one of the best first-person shooter games on the GameCube. So if you and a friend want to turn your brains off and enjoy some intense, action-packed, mindless shooting, I recommend picking up Serious Sam Next Encounter. Do you like Star Wars games? Well, the next game is Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike. Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike was developed by Factor 5 and published by LucasArts as an exclusive on the GameCube on October 15th, 2003. In Rebel Strike, you will take part in missions that span different battles from the original Star Wars trilogy, which include on-foot missions as well as flying missions with the X-Wing, Y-Wing, and more vehicles, and even AT-ST missions. You will get to pilot a large variety of different crafts from the Star Wars universe, as well as take part in some of the most famous battles while performing a large variety of objectives. The controls are pretty easy to learn and really well done, and the gameplay is very fine-tuned, and Rebel Strike really feels like a Star Wars game and has a lot of production values put into it. Now, the co-op in Rebel Strike is a little bit different because you don't actually play the Rebel Strike campaign in co-op. Instead, the co-op mode allows you to play every single mission from Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader cooperatively in split screen with a friend. So that is a total of 10 epic missions that you get to play cooperatively, and they're all fairly long as well. So if you're a fan of Star Wars or a fan of space type games like this, and you are looking for a really fun co-op experience on the GameCube, then you've got to check out Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike. I'm so happy I get to include a Zelda game in today's video, and that is Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. Zelda 4 Swords Adventure was published and developed by Nintendo as a GameCube exclusive on June 7th, 2004. The main campaign can be played with 1 to 4 players, and it features 8 worlds with 3 stages each and a boss battle. In typical Zelda fashion, you will be defeating enemies, solving puzzles, and utilizing different different weapons and tools while doing so. If you have 4 people total, each person will control a link, but if you have 2 to 3 players, you will have to split up the excess links between you. Working together with a friend or 2 or 3 is so much fun because you can brainstorm together how to overcome a particular obstacle or puzzle, and some of them are pretty damn tricky to figure out. You can also mess with each other, like knocking each other off cliffs, picking each other up and throwing each other, things like that, but in order to succeed in this game, you really have to work together as a team or you will not make it very far. Zelda 4 Swords Adventure is easily one of the best co-op experiences on the GameCube, and it's one that I think everybody should experience, especially if you're a Zelda fan. But there is one problem. There is a slight barrier to entry, as each player will need a Game Boy Advance and a link cable in order to plug the Game Boy Advance into the GameCube, because the Game Boy Advance is used as a controller and the screen is used when you enter certain structures in caves. Either way it goes, playing Zelda 4 Swords Adventures with friends is easily one of the most enjoyable co-op experiences on the GameCube and well worth the barrier to entry. Another one of my favorite movie series, which is The Lord of the Rings, and this game is The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King was published and developed by EA, and the GameCube version released on November 5th, 2003. The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King is a third-person hack-and-slash action-adventure game where you play through several important scenarios and battles from the movie. There are several playable characters that you can choose from throughout the course of the game, which include Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Frodo, and Sam, and there are even some unlockable characters as well. Each character has combos they can perform and abilities that are unique to them, and at the end of each level you can use experience points to unlock even more moves and abilities for each character. There are several levels to play through, most of which are very large, long, and sprawling, and full of epic situations and hordes of enemies to take down. And the best part about The Return of the King, and the reason that it is on today's list, is that there's a 2-player co-op mode where you can play through the entire campaign with a friend. Also, it is a fairly challenging game. You can't really just go through mindlessly pressing buttons and expect to survive. You have to play smart, and you have to exploit enemies' weaknesses, and you have to use your character's strengths, and having a friend alongside you really helps to balance out that difficulty. So if you are a fan of The Lord of the Rings and or a fan of hack and slash style games like this, and you are looking for a really fun and badass co-op experience on the GameCube, then I highly recommend The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. 2 more of my favorite first-person shooters on the GameCube. We're going to talk about Time Splitters 2 and Time Splitters Future Perfect. Time Splitters 2 was developed by Free Radical Design and published by Eidos Interactive, however the hell you pronounce it, and the GameCube version was released on October 16th, 2002. Time Splitters Future Perfect was also developed by Free Radical Design but was published by EA Games, and the GameCube version released on March 21st, 2005. They are both awesome and over-the-top first-person shooters where you are literally traveling through time. Because you are traveling through time, you play in a large variety of missions across different time periods and complete several different types of objectives, so because of this, each mission feels totally unique. You will utilize all sorts of different guns from the past, present, and even far future, and kill everything from gangsters to aliens to zombies. And the best part about it is that both games you can play the entire game split screen co-op with a friend. Once again, just like Serious Sam and Medal of Honor Rising Sun, you can work together tactically to complete each mission, and it works really well. Because of the sheer variety of missions across different time periods, there are so many insane scenarios you and your partner will find yourself in, like a mansion full of zombies, an alien attack, a town full of mobsters, and so much more. I love playing the Time Splitters games co-op, and there's just something special about them that you don't see often in other first-person shooter games, especially these days, and I miss that kind of uniqueness in the genre. I'm not sure which co-op first-person shooter game I like better between Serious Sam Next Encounter or Time Splitters Future Perfect, but you can bet your ass you will have a blast playing co-op in either Time Splitters games, so check them out. How about a couple of really awesome stealth games with Splinter Cell Chaos Theory and Splinter Cell Double Agent. The GameCube version of Splinter Cell Chaos Theory released on March 31st, 2005, and the GameCube version of Splinter Cell Double Agent released on October 26, 2006, and they were both published and developed by Ubisoft. They are both stealth games where you play as Sam Fisher as he goes on various missions in an effort to stop one global crisis or another. The Splinter Cell games are fantastic stealth games requiring you to utilize various gadgets, weapons, and the darkness to sneak around to accomplish your objectives. There are usually multiple paths from point A to point B and several different ways to deal with the bad guys in your path, or you could simply try to sneak around them. There is an entire co-op campaign in both games that is totally separate from the single player campaign, and they are amazing. In many co-op co-op games, you technically don't have to 100% work together. Oftentimes you can kind of do your own thing. Well, that's not the case in these Splinter Cell games. You have to work together very closely and plan very carefully to make it through each mission. This dynamic and required teamwork creates a very fun, difficult, and satisfying co-op experience that you just don't get often in co-op games. So if you are a fan of the stealth genre and you want to experience some incredible stealth-based co-op gameplay, then check out Splinter Cell Chaos Theory and/or Double Agent. And finally, let's talk about XMen Legends and XMen Legends 2 Rise of Apocalypse. The GameCube version of XMen Legend 1 was released on September 21st, 2004, and the GameCube version of XMen Legends 2 Rise of Apocalypse was released on September 20th, 2005, and they were both published by Activision and developed by Raven Software. XMen Legends 1 and 2 are both action RPGs where you control one of several X-Men in a team of up to 4, and you can swap between them. You will battle through a wide variety of levels, and each X-Men feels totally different with their own combos, moves, and special abilities. As you progress, you will unlock more and more X-Men to play as and customize your team with. As you play, you will gain experience points, which you can use to upgrade your characters with new combos and abilities, and you will also find equipment that can further boost your characters. The controls are simple and easy to learn, but at the same time there's a good bit of depth and progression in both games. Playing through it by yourself is fine, but the co-op is where it's at, especially considering you can play it with up to 4 people total. But whether there are 2, 3, or 4 of you, you will have an incredibly fun co-op experience. But if you're looking for 2 really good and inexpensive co-op games to play on the GameCube, and you are a fan of X-Men and/or action RPGs, then I highly recommend picking up XMen Legends 1 and 2. Well, there you have it, everybody. Those are, in my opinion, the best of the best co-op games on the GameCube. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think are some of the best co-op games on the GameCube. Also, let me know in the comments down below what you think about some of the co-op games that we talked about in today's video. If you're new here, consider subscribing so that you can join the Retro Wolf family. And as always, folks, stay safe out there, keep playing games and having a good time, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Later.